Alter. It's built as an alter, not a funny car. As you can see, there's a torsion bar, tube axle front end. Here's your torsion bar. So the front end is actually suspended, which makes it a lot easier to handle when the front end's in the air and it comes down. It doesn't upset the car as much.
See, it's got a damper on it there, huh?
And there's a steering damper, as you can see. So it's much more suited to an altered application, being that you don't have a 300-pound funny car body, because we all know what funny cars are like. So anyway, and it's adjustable, and it's just way more user-friendly for a violent car like these are, when you have big power in it. So moving to the rear. Well, anyway, okay.
Oh, he was concerned with the whole front end setup.
This is it's about a 6.5, 7-gallon tank. As you can see, the fuel system's all still here. It's got a lean-out valve if you choose to use it. I never did. I had a high-speed lean-out on the fuel system as well. Anyway, the plumbing's all here. It's ready to go. That's the puke tank. It's just a vent tank. These are the hoses, obviously, which go to the valve covers. So that's all ready to go.
And then we got
this here is
for brakes.
Strange brakes, standard of the industry kind of thing. Vent tank, as I said. This here is your CO2 bottle. This is your activator valve for the air throttle right here. And so anyone who runs a blown alcohol application knows what these are about, especially when you're trying to keep the thing consistent. You don't have to rely as much on the timing deal, retarding the timing to get the thing launched. While we're here, this is part of the fire system. This is a pilot bottle. Generally speaking, you just got two 10-pound bottles.
It's a pilot bottle here, yeah.
Pilot bottle.
Yeah.
So the cable here, which is, and this cable,
yeah,
button. When you activate that, it sets off the pilot bottle. You got a nozzle here and a nozzle here to knock down any fire from the fuel tank, whatever. You got a couple more nozzles here for the engine. You got two more nozzles here for the cockpit. And back in the rear, under the deck, we have the bottles. Usually the bottles on these cars are mounted up front. They're exposed. They look like shit. This is all tucked away, neat and tidy. So. And
what's that? What's this little breather here?
This tank here vents the rear end.
Oh,
here,
okay, yeah.
It also vents the transmission. So
okay.
You have no.
Let's continue on from the front here. So it's a little.
So.
So the frame.
This.
Anything special?
Chrome moly, standard stuff, right?
Okay.
It's certified. It's got a current certification on it for 6.0. As you can see, it's only a year old, so it's good for a couple more years. This chassis is set up for a big block Chevrolet, so a big block Chevy will drop right in with this motor plate and this transmission bell housing, and there's little wing plates that bolt onto here for the front. This gauge setup, the tack and there's a blower boost gauge and an oil pressure gauge. This will bolt on the back of a 1471. Sits up on the top of the blower, so it's right in your face. Transmission, basic race power glide. The best of internals. It's been trouble-free, bulletproof.
So you get a bandit shifter here.
It's got a competition B&M shifter with a dead and bear. There's a timer over here that you can adjust to 1/10 of a second, and this it's not like a conventional solenoid. When you pull this back, when it's powered up, it pulls it back. The solenoid actually holds it back, so that when the timer activates, it releases the solenoid and shifts, so it takes next to no power. So the thing draws almost nothing, not like a button activated solenoid shifter. So it's trouble-free, it's consistent, and it's really a must-have for this kind of setup where you got things on your mind. You know, just hanging on is all you're really thinking about, really. So we got a foot brake on this car here, which operates obviously the front brakes. The master cylinder's down there, down on the lower frame.
Yeah,
now.
I see it. Yeah.
And there's four piston
What's this solenoid up here above the master?
That's a line lock,
Oh, line lock.
which
Okay.
I never use. Some guys do, but I mean, you really don't need it in a car like this.
Okay.
It was on the chassis when I got it, so I just retained it. On the dash, I mean, that's the line. That activates the
Get
line
on the
lock,
other side of you here.
right? This activates the line lock, but like I say, I never used it. These are just the lights. There's a light at the rear and a light in the dash for at night. This operated an oil accumulator valve, which, you know, if you want to use that. And this operates the lean out, which is up here, as
Right.
I said before.
Yep.
As far as the brakes, just to finish out the brakes, on the rear, there's four
I'll have a look at
piston
'em.
calipers, which is way more than the guy ever needs. But if your chutes fail for some reason,
Yeah,
you've got
I
way
see 'em
more
there.
brakes. Like I've stopped this thing from 200
There's
miles
the other
an
one
hour.
up in front there. You can see this better from this side.
I've stopped this thing from 200 miles an hour without the chutes, like easily.
And what about the rear end here, seeing as how we're
The
here?
rear end is, you know, it's a 9-inch Ford style rear end. It's a full floater. And anyone who knows,
What ratio is it?
it's a 389 ratio, which is pretty standard for a blown alcohol thing. So it's reasonably calm. It's
And
relatively
we're looking
high
at an
ratio.
oil cooler here, are we? Or
That's a tranny cooler.
tranny cooler?
Most guys don't run them, but I had one, so I ran it. You know, I've never had an overheating problem with this thing. Those are obviously
Yeah, these are the cables for the
Chute
chutes.
cables?
Yeah.
over there. You can see the rear deck right over there.
Yeah, okay.
Those are the
Do
big.
we have some lights in here?
They're the big fuel cell chutes. Like they're way more than you ever need.
There's the lights in here?
I only use one at 200 miles an hour, but if your car goes 200 or more, you gotta have two. But you throw those out and you're stopping like instantly.
Okay.
So back to the rear end. These wheels are 16 by 16 double bead locks, and if you look in here, there's a big stud 5 by 5.5 center with the big spider, which is actually fuel stuff, nitro stuff, so it's bulletproof. They're floating axles, like so you
Yeah, you can yank them right out.
yeah, you yank the axles out, and they're isolated. You know, if the axle breaks or you ever have a problem, you're not going
Okay, he was asking about the cage dimension. Do you have a tape here that we can demonstrate that?
The cage, I assume he's talking about the width. Now this is just shy of 20 inches, so it might be a little tight for your guy, or I don't know, maybe you need a skinnier guy, whatever. I could, you know, I'm just shy of 200 pounds, and I'm pretty wide, and I fit in there
With all your gear?
with all my gear,
Yeah.
no problem at all. So, but if you had a huge guy, well, guess what? Fuel shut-off lever.
Where do you normally take the width? I suppose at the widest point there, yeah.
Right there,
Okay.
the widest point. And then also you got your
Do we have a tape that we can have a
I've
look
got
at that?
I've
Or
got a pad under here, right?
yeah.
And if a guy's taller, like obviously you got to have clearance here for your head, so you can take the pad out. But you know,
So
I'm
you're 5'8",
I'm 5'8".
and how
and
much
I got-
do you have, like with your helmet
I've
and all
got
that?
about an inch and a bit clearance when I like to sit up high.
Yeah.
I like to say
So you put a pad underneath.
there's about an inch of padding under here.
So I'm just under 6 feet. If I were to sit in there without the
Tight.
pad,
It'd be tight.
but would I
Yeah,
fit?
you'd get in.
Okay.
But like I say, it's tight.
Okay.
So
And again, this measurement here,
just shy of 20. It's about 19 and 3/4, 20,
Okay.
somewhere around there.
okay.
Here obviously is your parachute levers, standard stuff. As far as, anyway, getting back to this, 34, 5, 17, 16, which is pretty standard stuff for this application. And these tires are what I found worked best, this particular tire, the Mickey, for this car and this setup.
How many passes do these tires have on them
They got
now?
about 20, 25. I mean, you can see they still got rubber, a bit of rubber.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, if they work, they work. If they don't, put some new ones on, right?
What about up front for
If
wheels?
I were to run this car again, I'd use them. If they work, they work. These are just Moroso front runners, they call them, I think. 23 by 5 by 15.
And
They're
the
in
wheels
good
are
shape.
pretty much standard equipment, are they?
Yeah, for this kind of application.
Okay.
If you look in the trailer here, something that's really critical for these cars
The starter?
is the wheelie bar.
Oh, right, yeah.
both the length and the.
Let me just get it up to the car there and can.
Well, it obviously attaches to the rear end, right? Anyway, these are probably one of the most critical things about trying to run these cars is having the proper wheel bar. When I first started running the car, I had one about half the length with 2 wheels, and it was a disaster. It was too violent. So I built this one. It's basically a Pro Mod wheel bar, heavy duty, but it's adjustable. So you can adjust the height, you can adjust the tension. You can adjust the rod ends, obviously, and adjust the height of it.
So it's all Heim joints, yeah?
Yeah, so I figured all that out for this car. So now, I ran this car for 4 or 5 years, and I got to the point.
Oh, the wing. Sorry, before I forget.
So anyway, that's all figured out. Just bolt this thing on and it's ready to go. And that's a real headache getting all that to work properly. And there's ballast on the front. Underneath this nose piece.
Just get a screwdriver there and we'll get the nose piece off.
Okay. Now, trying to get these cars to go down the track is a tough thing to do. And it took me a while to figure it out. But there's a big chunk of lead on there now.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I got some more.
That looks
but
about,
I found that this,
what, 20 pounds?
That's 35.
35, wow.
I got another chunk about the same size, but the point being is all that is critical to make this car work properly.
The starter cart's not included in the sale?
There's no.
Okay.
I mean, some guys want to run. I ran a remote starter, and then there's these little wings, whatever canters, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
Spoilers, like so. Like so.
May as well throw the other one on.
I just
give an idea
I pull
here.
that off to put it in the trailer, so they get a little bit of downforce and a little bit of stability, I suppose. Right? They just all Zeus on. Then we got the wing.
Right, he was asking about
We
that.
got the wing. A lot of these cars, the wing attached to the roll cage, which they were going to outlaw. Maybe they have, but in any event, this obviously attaches to the rear subframe. It just plugs in real easy through the deck, and it's totally adjustable. And it's got a wicker on top, so it's all set up and good to go. Again,
did you make this piece?
Hey?
Did you make this?
No.
Oh, it was when you got it, yeah.
So this whole package is ready to go.
This switch here, Max?
That powers up all the electronics. You can see that all the instruments and the lights. And this here,
Yeah.
this battery's lithium iron that powers the electronic stuff. Obviously, I was running a magneto, so it powers itself.
And where's the bodyworks inside, I guess?
Bodyworks, a little T deck, T bucket.
Do we have, he hasn't in the stills, do we have light in here that we can...
You just pull this out.
Yeah, okay. May as well just give us a sec, Dana. I'll get that out here for you.
This thing's super light, probably weighs 30 pounds. It's in relatively good shape. We totally rebuilt it when I got the car. So I mean, there's the odd little stress crack here and there, but there's nothing structural wrong with it. It's in good shape. Got the little mud flaps going to tie it to the rear deck. Like I say, it's in good shape. Usually these things are all beat to shit. It's all reinforced. You see over the wheel well?
Oh yeah.
The box.
Yeah.
So we redid it when I got the thing, and I've had no trouble since.
And then there's other panels, obviously, that
There's the side panels here, obviously, that enclose the cockpit. These come off, and then the side panels that go along the body, just flat panels.
And you can see those in the stills I sent
and
you,
there's
Dana.
also a belly pan.
Right.
So there's that. So it's all totally enclosed.
And is your starter card handy in case he's interested
Well,
in that as well?
it's not a cart. It's
That's what I meant.
It's an RCD starter that clips onto the blower. Some guys like to run these things
Kind of dark in here.
self-starting, right?
Oh, that, yeah.
So this is what I used. Right, these are the standard of the industry. You know, like awesome piece of gear, but they ain't cheap. And that's not part of the package. If a guy wants to purchase that separately with the cables and the charger and the batteries and all that, that's available also.
Are they not all on a cart though? I thought maybe I'm mistaken. All your batteries and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. Okay.
So I have a couple of different battery packs and what have you, but like I say, that's a separate item at the price that I mentioned.
Right. So we're asking, or he's asking 16.5 for the way you see it, and that's delivered to California. Yeah or no?
Want it delivered? We can deliver it.
Guess you can talk about that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Right. It's a turnkey package. It's ready to go.
Are you sure? I believe you because I know you know the car, but you're a pretty big guy, and I've seen you all suited up. And are you sure there's only 20 inches here?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Inside the inside.
Yeah, like here.
Inside the inside. Yeah.
Looks more to me, but you know what you're doing.
So the point being, and the real, and you know, if you're already a drag racer, you know what I'm talking about when I say that the whole deal with this is that it's a proven piece. You know, if you buy something off whoever, that it's just a piece of stuff that hasn't been down the track and hasn't been proven and hasn't run and hasn't run the number reliably over time.
So what were you doing with this one here when you won the championship?
Season, this thing ran low 680s, 681, 682 at 200 miles an hour over and over and over. It runs 1 flat 60 foot to 104, 100 to 104 every time. You can make it leave harder, you can make it go faster, but that wasn't what this was about. It was about having fun. It was about not breaking stuff. The last year, all we did was change oil in this car and run it down the track over and over and over, and it was repeatable. It was fast enough. It was
and that was with what?
Trouble-free.
What was the setup you were running for an engine?
I was running a
with that performance. 510
cubic inch big block Chevy, the 1471. Really mild, 10, 12 pounds boost, 1,600 horsepower, 200 miles an hour, 680 flat, trouble-free. Change the oil, that's it. Good fueling.
Okay.
Lots of fun. So if you ran something equivalent to that, and if you're running a 7.0 class, Pro 7.0 or whatever, you'd even dial it back from there. So you're running 1,400 horsepower. 1,400 horsepower would make this car run a 7.0 at 185, 190. Trouble-free, straight, consistent. Go racing now.
All the bugs worked out, ready to roll.
All the bugs are worked out. It's a clean car. It ain't a showpiece, but it's clean. It's functional.
No, it's not beat up at all. Everything's in good shape.
But it's not. It was never intended to be a show car. It's a race car. I mean, some people like this stuff really shiny and show quality. Well, I like it clean and functional, as you can see.
Okay.
And that's what this is. So that's all. Really, that's all I can say about it.
So I'll get this video to you tonight, Dana, and I'll upload it to my YouTube channel.
But I will say this too.
Yeah.
We all know what these things cost to build. So
sounds like he's well aware.
I'm sure he is. But the point being is, what I'm asking for is what it's worth, and it's fair. As far as taking it any further apart than this, ain't gonna happen. If you don't want it, or if somebody doesn't want it in this state, I'll put the engine back in it that came out of it, because I took the engine out, I built another one and put it in, and it was a little much for the car. It was like 2,500 horsepower. So I didn't want to go through all that and ruin my fun. So I sold it, and I was going to put the other engine back in and carry on, but you know, things changed in my life. So if it doesn't go in this state, the engine will go back in. I'll fire it up again and have it ready to run, and it'll go that way, one way or the other. But I'm not stripping it.
Okay, fair enough.
And like I say, all this package here, it's ready to go. Put your engine in and run. You know, as long as your engine bolts up to this big block Chevy style program, right? And we all know that these trannies can be a pain in the ass. Well, this one, I've been through all that. I've been through several transmissions.
Yeah, he said that he could use a spare. So.
But this is bulletproof, especially at 15, 16 horsepower. It's bulletproof. It's trouble-free. And it's proven itself to be that over the course of, you know, like a couple, 3 years. Done.
Okay. I'll get this to you, Dana. Thanks.